Welcome back, everyone. We are Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news, the daily fail, meme review, software releases, hardware releases, and the plebiscites. That's right, this is the weekend recap. Optimist is joining us once again. He is the captain of chaos on our Twitter handle and handles the spaces amazingly. Optimist, how you doing, man?
What's up, Phil? What's up, everyone? Today, I'm gonna do something different, guys. I'm gonna put all the skin in the game, and I'm gonna take the mask off, boys and girls. So, officially doxing today. Doxing, guys. We are here. This is my face. What's up, everyone? I love you. I'm officially full skin in the game with you guys. We out ya.
I love it. We love it. We love it. We knew it was time. We knew it was coming close. All right, Nico, you know where we're going. We're diving into the numbers. Let's do it, man.
Number time! Brought to you by Nodl. They make some of the best Bitcoin nodes, like the Nodl One. Run your own version of Bitcoin Core, the Lightning Network, Dojo, and Whirlpool, all from the comfort of your own home. Remember, guys, if you don't run your own Bitcoin node, you're using someone else's. And if you're a Digino nomad, there's no excuse, because now you could run Nodl Cloud. Run a Nodl node through a virtual private server anywhere around the world. Visit nodl.eu.
At the time of this recording, the block height is 745,406. The Bitcoin price, 20,995. Chain rewrite days, 871. Total public Lightning capacity, 4,272.79. Moscow time, 4763. Blocks to the halvening, 94,594. And the Samurai Whirlpool unspent capacity. Samurai Whirlpool is a CoinJoin or collaborative spend, not a mixing service. The unspent capacity for that pool is 4,869.84 BTC. The uneventful numbers, Nico. They are the same.
The uneventful numbers. All right. So I got some interesting number data thing that we could riff on. Let's check it out. First one is by the Chad Sailor. On August 11, 2020, this is a tweet by Michael Saylor, by the way, MicroStrategy embarked on its Bitcoin strategy, acquiring 21,454 Bitcoins at an aggregated purchase price of $250 million. Performance since that time, MicroStrategy is 73% up, Google is only 51%, Apple is 33%, Microsoft is 23%, Amazon is negative 27%, Meta, also known as Facebook or was Facebook, negative 37%, Netflix looks like a shitcoin, down negative 61%, even though, I mean, it kind of become a shitcoin lately. They only have a couple good shows, Netflix. They went a tad woke. So interesting perspective. We know that MicroStrategy's purchases are down, but I get what he's trying to do here. He's trying to say, look, if you hold long term, right? If you think long term, MicroStrategy is outperforming all the other tech stocks, right? So I guess interesting perspective. That was another thing. I'm going to come back to this once we get to the news, but there's a tweet by Alex Gladstein. Had him on the show. He's an awesome guy. 1 billion plus people living under at least 30% inflation, and it probably gets worse before it gets better, right? Goes down the list: Zimbabwe, Turkey, Sri Lanka, Cuba, Venezuela, Argentina, Laos. I'm just going to go through the first 6. Zimbabwe's at 495% inflation. Turkey's at 122% inflation. Sri Lanka at 116% inflation. I'm sure that had to do with the recent coup where all the people raided the presidential palace. I think it had something to do with that. Cuba is at 85%. Venezuela is at 84%. Argentina is at 77%. And it's actually really interesting because a lot of these countries like Argentina, Venezuela, Turkey are actually hostile towards Bitcoin usage. So, I forget who said this. It definitely wasn't me, but it said something like along these lines: the countries that ban Bitcoin are the countries that need it most. So really interesting observation, some interesting numbers. Chad Saylor, definitely, that's a hell of a perspective, my friend. I don't think a lot of people are looking at it that way. Let's pass it on to Phil, and then we go to Opti.
Yeah, I think that Michael Saylor's tweet is about zooming out, right? Looking at the bigger picture and seeing that, look, in the grand scheme of things, as Bitcoin continues to swallow all of the value that it can, it's just going to keep showing. It's just going to keep showing its strength. And look, I mean, a lot of people right now are screaming about the bear market and, oh my gosh, Bitcoin's dead and it's down. But look, at the end of the day, he still did an amazing move and he still managed to destroy all these other companies, which are supposedly top tier in terms of their percentage rates for their earnings. So, you know what? He's right. Zoom out, look at the bigger picture. He's doing great. Now, in terms of these other countries, banning Bitcoin, I think it's actually funny that you have different proponents calling for bans on Bitcoin, because at the end of the day, all it does is draw attention to the fact that it actually cannot be fully banned, which we saw evidenced with the China ban, and we saw the hash rate return. It also begs the question, did it ever really leave? So, look, it's just, all it is theater. It really is just government theater. Optimist?
Yeah, I've said it before on the show, and I'll say it again. I absolutely love when governments try to ban Bitcoin, because it just proves you can't ban Bitcoin, and it just makes our point for us. And, man, by the numbers, Bitcoin is still up, guys. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. Numbers still goes up. Blocks are still coming in. Hash is still strong. Bullish on Bitcoin. Zoom out. I think we tell you guys that every single week. Just zoom out, hodl Bitcoin, enjoy your life. It's really this simple.
Yeah, that's man. Amen to that. I definitely agree. Great take from Mexican Johnny Depp. But anyways, Opti or Phil. It's time for
the Daily News.
Brought to you by CryptoCloaks.com. They make some of the best 3D printed Bitcoin merch, like the famous 3D printed Bitcoin grenade toy. It comes in any custom color your heart desires. You want Simply Bitcoin colors? You could do that. What about in gold? That's right. You can get in Peter Schiff colors. And good news, guys, you can take advantage of the promo code down below to get 5% off anything off the store. If you're in Europe, the European store is now open, CryptoCloaks.com. All right, guys, so things are heating up. We've been covering this for quite a bit. Elizabeth Warren on Friday, or we did this on Friday's episode, she wrote a letter to the EPA. We're going to read some of her response, which we did on Friday, so I don't want to stick to that too much. But also, the United Nations on June 2022 also came out with a report. It's called "All That Glitters Is Not Gold: The High Cost of Leaving Cryptocurrencies Unregulated." So yeah, interesting. Let's check some of it out. So the United Nations, again, it's a giant bureaucratic institution. Let's check out what their policy recommendations are. They're pretty hardcore. So just kind of make a mental map of who's attacking Bitcoin, right? We have some of the most powerful billionaires, Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger. We have, the head of the ECB, Christine Lagarde. You have Hillary Clinton. You have Donald Trump. You have China. You have the CCP, Central Communist Party of China. And now you have the United Nations. Let's check out what the United Nations had to say in this report. This policy recommendations. It says, despite recent regulatory responses, cryptocurrency remain in a legal gray area in most developing countries. The cryptocurrency ecosystem is global by nature, and many of its components are outside the jurisdictions of states. Key word there. Look at the wording of states, making cryptocurrency regulation a challenge. Accordingly, key regulatory responses to mitigate the global risk posed by cryptocurrencies need to come from developed countries in which most of these providers have their headquarters. Developing countries may have less room to maneuver, yet the regulation of cryptocurrencies is possible. The following policies, among others, have the potential to curb the further spread of the risk of cryptocurrencies and stablecoins. Mind you, right? These are a lot of these are developing countries, right? You have Zimbabwe, you have Sri Lanka, you have Venezuela, you have Argentina, you have Laos, Malawi, Ghana, Ukraine, Pakistan, Iran, Lebanon, Sudan, Syria, Colombia, Egypt, Nigeria. Let's completely ignore the inflation numbers and how it protects people, specifically if you save in Bitcoin, right? It's a deflationary asset. Let's ignore the benefits. Let's ignore the fact that if these developing countries are cut off from the global financial system, Bitcoin is their only way to navigate the global financial system. And let's ignore the fact that it's hard to confiscate, especially if these people live in a dictatorship like we saw in Afghanistan, right? Let's ignore all of that. Anyways, they go on to say ensuring comprehensive financial regulation through the following actions. Require the mandatory registration of crypto exchanges and digital wallets. Make the use of cryptocurrencies less attractive. Very similar wording. We've heard this before. For example, by charging entry fees for crypto exchanges and digital wallets and/or imposing financial transaction taxes on cryptocurrency trading. Ban regulatory financial institutions from holding stablecoins and cryptocurrencies. Regulate decentralized finance. And they got this part right. Such finance may in fact not be fully decentralized given its central management and ownership. Restricting or prohibiting the advertisement of crypto exchanges and digital wallets in public spaces and on social media. This new type of virtual and often disguised advertisement requires policymakers to expand the scope of regulation beyond traditional media, creating a public payment system to serve as a public good, such as, here it is guys, central bank digital currency. In the light of the regulatory and technological complexity of central bank digital currencies and the urgent need to provide safe, reliable, and affordable payment systems, authorities could also examine other possibilities, including fast retail payment systems. So there you have the UN. You have the UN literally saying, right, it doesn't want people to use Bitcoin. Forget about all the benefits. It wants people to use surveillance coin, the bureaucratic wet dream, central bank digital currencies, right? And this is the message by Elizabeth Warren. We already covered this, but this is from the official post, right? It says, this is to quote the article. It says, the press release, the results of our investigation are disturbing, revealing that crypto miners are large energy users that account for a significant and rapidly growing amount of carbon emissions. Our investigation suggests that the overall U.S. crypto mining industry is likely to be problematic for energy and emissions. But little is known about the full scope of crypto mining activity. Given these concerns, it is imperative that your agencies work together to address the lack of information about crypto mining's energy use and environmental impacts, and use all available authorities at your disposal to require reporting of energy use and emissions from crypto miners. And moving on to the next one, right here is a post by thebitcoinist.com, and check it out. It looks like the ECB is agreeing with Elizabeth Warren. The European Central Bank research compared Bitcoin mining with someone driving a fossil fuel car. In that sense, they claim public authorities have the option of incentivize it, imposing a carbon tax on it, or banning it. The research claims the latter is very probable. Why is a central bank getting into climate issues? Is that a prerogative of the central bank? Anyways, the reason that I kind of jumped back and forth is I want you guys to connect the dots. What is happening here? All these old institutions are under threat, just like the sovereign individual predicted. And they're scrambling to regulate this thing. They don't want people in developing countries to use it to develop an outside economy that's no longer in their control. The central planners want them to remain under the gate or the encompassing central bank digital currencies. That's what they want. It's absolutely terrifying to me that you have all these very powerful institutions and they're attacking something that is the most inclusive money the world's ever seen. It creates an open monetary network. It's deflationary. They don't see any of those benefits. They don't give a flying fuck. What they're really concerned about is maintaining power and control. And that is including the United Nations. It's something that Phil always says, right? Bitcoin exposes everybody's incentives, and this time is no different. It doesn't matter if it's a very powerful Democratic senator. It doesn't matter if it's an institution as large as the United Nations. The United Nations has been around for over 50 years. It doesn't matter. The incentives are being exposed. They're really concerned more about maintaining control than it is talking about any of the benefits that Bitcoin provides. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care that Zimbabwe has 250% inflation. They don't have a solution. A central bank digital currency does not change anything. It still enables the central bank to print more money to pay for the bureaucracies, enrich rich people, which are already wealthy, through the Cantillon effect, and make the lower and middle classes poorer because they don't have the capital and the wealth to benefit from asset inflation. So, this is really, really scary stuff. Guys, take this seriously. This is just the beginning. The United Nations, the World Bank, the IMF, Elizabeth Warren, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Charlie Munger, Jamie Dimon, those are all very powerful institutions and people. And what do they all have in common? They hate freedom money, also known as Bitcoin. Phil?
Oh, beautifully said. I totally agree. Okay. And I just wanted to also add, the only thing that the bureaucracy knows how to do, as you were reading through that, right, it makes it painfully apparent that the only thing the bureaucracy knows how to do is introduce red tape and unnecessary costs and hurdles. And they think that by doing this, you know what, this is going to dissuade people. You know something? I think at this point, it's becoming painfully clear how fiat money is starting to unravel and doesn't work properly. So they are going to need to increase their rhetoric. They are going to have no choice. And it's really awesome that you covered this, because we actually got in our Fountain FM, where people stream us sats, somebody actually asked us about essentially how is the banking system, how is the banking system energy intensive in comparison to Bitcoin? And the reason why I bring that up is because you see their whole battle is about, they pretend that it has to do with proof of work and the environment. They pretend that they care about you. Just like you said, Nico, they don't give a shit. They couldn't care less about the environment. They have one thing on their mind. How do I maintain my moat? How do I hang on to power? How do we make sure that we keep being the group of people that makes the rules? Okay? This is the only concern. And the thing is that the rest of us are so busy running around just trying to make ends meet and figuring out, what's going to happen next, that nobody really has time to argue with them. Okay, fine. We just need the money to work. But you know something? That's again where Bitcoin fixed this. It made it possible for us not to have to do this. We get to opt out of all their stupid shenanigans, and we say, you know what? I don't have to come and argue with you about these points that don't matter. All I need to do is stack sats and opt out of this system. And yes, people think that banning Bitcoin is going to work. You know what? Let them try. Let them try to ban Bitcoin. I've said this in the past. I think you've said this in the past too, Nico. I'm sure Optimist has too. Guys, the price may fluctuate based on current events, but make no mistake, the desire for human freedom is always there. It's always been there. So it's not going to go away, and they will fail. They just don't know it yet.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And also snuck into that report, I think is a good visualization before I pass it on to Opti, right? Is they did the homework on digital currency ownership as share of population. This is such a monumental problem for them. And I think this is why they're freaking out. 11%, 12% of Ukraine. Remember, Ukraine made it illegal for crypto. Still 12% of the population owns it. Russian Federation, they did something quite similar. Venezuela, right? Singapore, Kenya 8%, Singapore 9.4%, the United States of America 8.3%. I even think that they color-coded it between advanced economies and developing economies. That's so funny. Thank you, UN. And dude, a lot of these comments, a lot of these countries, better said, have high inflation. But of course, this is never talked about. It's like in Argentina, when the IMF pressured the Argentinian government to accept that bailout in return for, just ban Bitcoin, ban crypto. Why? The people are never talked about. And when they talk about financial stability, to me, what it looks like is they're more concerned about their own survival than they are about the well-being of the people in that country, right? Opti, what are your thoughts on this, brother?
Well, I really love that we have in their own words exactly what we've been telling you guys for years now, that they are fighting Bitcoin and finding any way possible to block the exit door. And as they said in their very own words, they're trying to make Bitcoin look less attractive to the normies out there. Guys, if that doesn't expose everything they want to do, we say it all the time. Bitcoin exposes people's true incentives, and all you got to do is just pay attention to it. And it's very obvious at the end of this that they're trying to push CBDCs on us as the solution. And furthermore, I said it last week, I believe, or during the week, about I really love how the powers that be, those in power right now, frame Bitcoin as a revolution in payments, when we all know that that is not why we're here. We're here to fix the money. The money is broken. They have printed way too much money and the system can't handle it. We can only see how far they can kick the can down the road, but we all know why we're here. 21 million hard cap is non-negotiable, and they can try to frame us any way they can, but we know the truth. They want to block the exit door to Bitcoin, and it shows. So Bitcoin exposes their incentives, and it's very obvious once you pay attention.
Absolutely, it really does. And I think this is all going to culminate really into one single question. Should a government or a country really force you to earn in a money that loses value over time? Very simple question. And you know what? They're not going to want to answer it. They're going to gaslight, they're going to deflect, they're going to do everything in their power but to try to answer that simple question. And Bitcoin, it's a vote for just, I don't believe in your system. It's much deeper rooted. Phil, you hit the nail on the head. It's much deeper rooted than they understand, right? It's, I don't want to participate in your system anymore because it's unfair. It's unjust. I'm sick and tired of being stolen from. I want to try something better. If their system was as competent as they say it is, then people wouldn't be choosing a different system. But people are choosing a different system because they want to. And again, another thing before we go to the fail, this is why crypto gives Bitcoin a bad name. Because they're able to combine the two and say, hey, all this bad stuff that crypto did, all the rug pulls, all the DeFi, all the bullshit, this is why we should ban crypto. This is why we should ban Bitcoin, because of all these bad things. And of course, it doesn't talk about any of the benefits, right? The benefits of a world on a deflationary currency. But that puts governments in a really hard spot because they're going to have to answer for a lot of things that under a fiat system, they normally wouldn't have to answer for. Anyways, Phil, it's time for
The Daily Fail. Brought to you by Swan. Check them out, swanbitcoin.com. Automated Bitcoin savings plans, instant purchases. Whether you got $10, $10 million, $5 million, Swan has you covered. DCA with Swan. The link is down below. As I mentioned earlier, there was somebody streamed us sats. It was actually middle_age dev, and he actually had a question. He goes, how exactly is the banking sector energy intensive? So, very good point, right? Because we have mentioned this in the past that, hey, you know what? We always pay attention to Bitcoin's energy use because it's transparent. What about the banking sector? The banking sector has a couple more layers. So anyways, did some digging, wanted to see what I could come up with, and I found this pretty interesting article here that's actually from Namcios, but it was published on Nasdaq.com. So here we go. Bitcoin consumes less than half the energy of the banking or gold industries. So a recent report from Galaxy Digital found that the Bitcoin network consumes less than half the energy consumed by the banking or gold industry. The research report from Galaxy Digital calculated the energy consumed by the Bitcoin network and then compared it to other industries, including the banking industry. It found that Bitcoin consumes 113.89 terawatt hours per year, while the banking industry consumes 263.72 terawatt hours. Now, this is back in this article is from May 2021, just to give people some perspective on that. Bitcoin is a fundamentally novel technology that is not a precise substitute for any one legacy system. According to the report, Bitcoin is not solely a settlement layer, not solely a store of value, and not solely a medium of exchange. There is no denying that the Bitcoin network consumes a substantial amount of energy, but this energy consumption is what makes it so robust. And let's take a quick look at this chart right here, and we can easily see the banking system, the estimated energy consumption per year, gold, and Bitcoin. You can clearly see that chopped in half. So I definitely think that this goes back to something that we've said in the past. If you value censorship resistant, if you value money that is not centrally controlled and cannot be debased, then it's important that Bitcoin consumes this energy through the use of proof of work. So, and I think that we did a pretty good job of showing that it actually does consume far less energy than the banking sector, which really only does one thing, which is produce fake money. So, anyways, before I move on to the next parts, we'll go to Nico, see if he has any thoughts on this, and then Optimist.
You're muted.
Dude, it's striking because, look, that isn't even being questioned because the banking system is seen as, that's necessary, right? But what about in countries that the banking system doesn't work? What about in countries that Bitcoin is the only option, right? What about that, right? Of course, that isn't talked about, that isn't brought up. And yeah, look, it's really important to be armed with this knowledge because at least you could fight back when someone tells you something differently. What I saw in that graph also for our audio listeners is it's not only banking that uses more energy than Bitcoin, it's also the gold mining industry that uses more energy than Bitcoin, right? And then not to mention the last thing before I pass it on to Opti, right, is that Bitcoin uses energy that was already going to waste, stranded energy, because if not, it wouldn't be economical for miners. If it's energy that's being used, then it outprices a miner and the miner can't be efficient, and the miner definitely wants to be efficient, especially during a bear market when the profits decrease, right? So yeah, look, it's just, again, it's important to be armed with these because what people are going to say to this is, gold is necessary, banking is necessary, and then what you should say is Bitcoin is necessary, and they're going to say, no, it's not, and it's like, you have financial privilege, my friend. You obviously live in a country that has a stable financial system. Most countries don't have that, right? So you definitely live in the West, right? So yeah, man, this is it's just alarming, dude. But again, these people don't care about the facts. They care about power. Anyways, Opti, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to first echo one thing you said, Nico, that Bitcoin mining doesn't compete with everyday electrical uses. That prices out the Bitcoins. And then second, I'm going to echo what David Zell said and what Nico just said. If they're framing Bitcoin as having no legitimate uses, then you can pretty much dismiss everything they're saying off rip. I know that's maybe not the best heuristic, but I fully believe if people can't be open to the idea that Bitcoin is useful, then you already know where their bias is. And furthermore, as we've been talking, the fact that politicians and the like are framing Bitcoin as this big energy intensive process that is taking away electricity from other uses, when in reality Bitcoin is such a small little industry and compared to the amount of pollution that's going on the planet Earth to do, as you guys say, banking or gold mining. And you guys reminded me of a really great presentation by Friar Haas. I forget what the title is, but I think it was Yellow Rock Bad, and he fully destroys this narrative of Bitcoin being more pollutant than banking and gold mining. So definitely go check out all the research. But guys, TLDR, we know that Bitcoin is the cleanest industry, period. And the facts have been showing you that. So they can FUD us all we want, but we understand that Bitcoin is helping the grid. It is making sure that people are finding better uses of electricity, cheaper uses of electricity, and the free market will find the solution if we zoom out.
Absolutely. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nico.
Yeah, 100%. Johnny Depp with the signal. Phil, what is the next fail, my friend?
All right, here we go. Let's
Look at that
dive
smile.
into.
That movie star.
That's right. You got it. Okay. All right, so here we go. Let's dive into some bullshit. Here we go. We never have a weekend without something going horribly wrong in the DeFi shitcoining world. So why would this weekend be any different? It wouldn't be any different. So pre-mint NFT tool hacked. Pre-mint. User wallets drained. Oh, wow, we're shocked. Pre-mint is an NFT service intended to help project creators build access lists for new NFT projects based on various qualifications. The project appeared to be compromised on July 17th, and users were asked to sign transactions that allowed hackers to drain all assets from their wallets. It's as of yet unclear how much was lost to the hack, but pricey NFTs were stolen, likely amounting to more than $500,000. We keep telling you that the rug pulls are the use case for this stuff. I know that people keep calling us toxic and we just don't have any insight and we're not understanding the technology. Look, you guys aren't, I think there's a lot of shitcoiners out there that don't understand that this is literally the whole point of this is to rug pull you. Okay, that is the whole point of this stuff. Anyways, just thought that was an interesting little piece before I found this article here. And I think I believe it is our researcher, the resident researcher, Pleb, that found this one. So here we go. Let's dive into it. Crypto founders say it's not their fault. They're enabling Ponzi schemes. Oh, it's not their fault. But we're not going to stop building, even though we're enabling scams. We're not going to stop that. Okay, let's take a look at this one. Aaron Davis and Dan Finley, both co-founders of the cryptocurrency wallet service MetaMask, are well aware that the tech is tied up in all sorts of fraud. These operations are operating within a massive legal gray area with regulators, particularly in the United States. Oh, no harm, no foul. Gray area. We're all good. Putting your money in cryptocurrencies is gambling, Davis told Motherboard. I'm not saying that what we have right now is the future of finance and move your life savings over. A lot of people are advocating that, and I think that is extremely dangerous behavior. Yes, this is true. There's a lot of shitcoiners that do absolutely advocate to put everything you have into crypto. And guess what? So did, unfortunately, a lot of the get on zero people in the Bitcoin space, right? They are not absolved of this. That doesn't work for everyone. Anyways, MetaMask has played a key role in allowing average consumers to access their Ethereum wallet online. The brand is owned by Consensus, developer of some of the most commonly used tools in the space. Now, for the people who don't know, Consensus was started by Joe Lubin. Joe Lubin is the co-founder of Ethereum, and around the circle jerk we go. Okay, all of these are connected. Ethereum, Consensus, MetaMask. Anyways, since MetaMask's launch back in 2016, countless NFT projects have cropped up that make use of the Ethereum blockchain, and with them a barrage of pyramid schemes, scams, and phishing operations. That's kind of interesting that it's happening on Ethereum, which as we know had the 70% pre-mine, and we also know has that wonderful little graphic of the I think it's the pyramid, the pyramid of Ethereum, which I'll provide that graphic so you could pop it up. Anyways, OpenSea, one of the largest NFT marketplaces, even admitted back in January that 80%, this is Signal here, 80% of the NFTs minted through its free creation tool are spam, scams, or otherwise fraudulent. I don't know if people understood what I just said. Free creation tool. You know how people were trying to tell you that NFTs are art? and that it's scarce. Just told you, there's a free creation tool to create this garbage. Anyways, I digress. We will continue. Davis told Motherboard that he wasn't surprised by this rise of Ethereum-based scams, while his partner pointed at much larger structural issues with the technology. Here now we're leading into some other signal. There are so many different kinds of failure that are happening all the time. That's why we have a whole entire segment dedicated to the fails here, because there's that much failure. But when it comes to actually doing something about the countless scams and Ponzi schemes, the two didn't have much of an answer. Well, of course not. You know what I mean? They're getting to rent seek because of these scams, so they're going to keep their mouths shut. Anyways, the founders argued their hands are tied. All they can do is to make sure bad actors don't get too much attention, despite their own tools allowing them to flourish in the first place. Here we go. Without meaningful government intervention, these schemes are likely to go on in the near future. Besides, MetaMask's founders aren't actually against regulation. Finley told Motherboard that their company would love to beat governments to self-regulating. Now that is really interesting, because if they truly did desire a self-regulating space, they would have built on Bitcoin. They wouldn't have built on a shit chain, but they did. And it's because there is no skin in the game required to build on this. Okay, there is no skin in the game required whatsoever. But with Bitcoin, if you choose to build on Bitcoin, you have to build something that is actually going to provide value, whether it's a service, whether it's a product. And therefore, Bitcoiners and even non-Bitcoiners may stumble into your service or product and say, you know what, this is worthwhile. But on Ethereum, you don't have to do that. I just read to you that you can create, forget about MetaMask, but go to the NFTs. You can create those for free on OpenSea. Okay? We've also explained in the past, and you can go look this up. You can create a shitcoin, an ERC20 token for as little as $25. Zero skin in the game. Anyways, it's just really unfortunate. And you know what? To me, this just sounds like, hey, we can't really do anything about the problems, but we welcome regulation because we can't do it ourselves. It just sounds like a sad excuse so that people don't hate them. Anyways, Nico, your thoughts?
Yeah, dude. Phil the shitcoin slayer. Those are my thoughts. No, but seriously. Oh, God. Look, I think this is my thought. I'll be honest. When we first started the fail, I thought it was a lot of noise. But the more Phil did it, and he did a great job, the more I realized how necessary the fail is, because it exposes the misrepresentations and the lies, and the marketing ploys. And I think that it's just important to highlight, man, and I think it's important to talk about. And dude, I don't want to keep repeating my responses that I have every other day, so I'm gonna be original. That's my response. I'm grateful that Phil exposes that shit. I really think it's important, and I think it's a vital part of the show, man, because all you get is just this fucking sea of misrepresentations of shitcoinery on YouTube that is just so damaging, so bad. And a lot of the other Bitcoin channels, as awesome as they are, we love them, all of them, none of them want to get their fucking hands dirty and get into the bullshit. So shout out to you, Phil. Loved it. I'm gonna change it up. That's my Nico Sunday rant. Opti, what are your thoughts?
Awesome. Yeah. First off, I really agree with you guys that the daily fail is super important. I've seen a lot of comments of people saying like, man, I am so glad you guys did the daily fail because it showed me how wrong I was. And then secondly, I read this article myself, and the article damn near has these MetaMask creators admitting to the fact that the tech is broken and that they all are on Ponzi-nomics, economics, quote unquote, and that they all know this. It's the dirty secret of shitcoinery. And It's like, man, amazing. But you guys reminded me of a tweet that Ryan Sean Adams put out, and he's a big ETH guy, and it blew up over the weekend. And he goes, mainstream thinks crypto's a scam. How do we change this? And I literally stole this tweet from someone, but it's the perfect tweet, and it's just stop building scams. Like, it's fundamentally that easy. You know, we do this every single day of trying to tell you guys there's a difference between Bitcoin and crypto. And this is the difference. People building on Bitcoin aren't trying to build Ponzi schemes and then just push it on retail.
Have you noticed that no Bitcoin companies this downturn have had a liquidity crisis, and only shitcoin companies have had a liquidity crisis? It's so funny. On that tweet, though, I replied, when he asked that question, I said, ETH going to zero.
and you know what the funny thing is? He thinks that we're cavemen. Yeah. He thinks that you know what I mean? Like, you see these comments from these people, and we're supposedly the backwards fools that don't understand. It's like, don't you get it that whatever technology you're pushing, whatever technology narrative you think you're pushing, doesn't need to be a freaking token. We say this every freaking episode. I don't understand. Like, it's like, how much more do you need to see that? Yeah, file sharing doesn't need to be a freaking token. The ETH Ponzi doesn't need to be a token. All the shit coins that are on it, they don't need to exist to provide their service.
Yep. It's true, man. And I'm calling it right now. Ethereum, and Phil, you did a great job covering this on Friday's episode. Ethereum is... if they successfully move to proof of stake, right? They might, right? But they're going to attack Bitcoin with everything they can, right? They want to take over. They don't give a shit about separating money from state. They want Lambos. And I think it's really important that we just keep staying on top of all that bullshit. But anyways, Phil, it's time for it.
The Daily Meme Review. Brought
to you by Citadel 21. Is the best Bitcoin culture zine, stories, articles, comics by actual Bitcoiners. This is the artwork for volume 10. This is the artwork for volume 11. And this is the artwork for volume 2. When I get back to Miami, I'll show you the new artwork for the new thing, but I'll be gone for a while. Anyways, there's only 1,000 physical copies made per volume. So get your prints of Citadel 21 today before they run out. All right, everybody, welcome to the Daily Bitcoin Meme Review, where we review Bitcoin memes. It's Sunday, so I'm not going to say my usual bit. All right, anyways, hodl never sodl. Bolivar, Lira, Zimbabwe, dollar, Sri Lankan rupee, fiat currencies dying all around. It's the template with Anakin Skywalker and Padme for our audio listeners. But euro and dollar are safe, right? I don't need Bitcoin, right? Oh, it's great. Hodl never sodl, great meme. Next one, buy Coinbits. Grandkids are going to think you're nuts. Back in my day, I could buy 500 sats for $1. Oh, that's funny. That's us. Not too long. Phil's gonna get his wish and become senile. All right, next one. If you know Phil, you get that. If you know Phil, you get that joke. All right, next one. Bitcoin. We solved the Byzantine generals problem and created a global decentralized currency, crypto. Coin has dog. It's so true. All right, next one. Sat symbol gradually then subtly. If you look very deeply in the dollars of Bitcoin. We all know that's not true, but it definitely looks cool. All right, here's Der Fehlbert. The Bitcoin standard, it's a giant shark, and the little tiny fish is the fiat standard. Doesn't feel that way. We're definitely getting a lot of punches. That fish definitely knows how to punch lately. All right, it's I don't want to say, the interesting looking guy, looking at his computer, drinking coffee, and then looking at, the company asked me to solve a tech problem, but Bitcoin isn't the incentive for that. It's it's true. You can't create a token. All right, next one. It's by Kaz. Had him on the show. Great guy. Stops right there. No one gets past here without paying the meme tax. Drop your latest saved meme. And then Joe Rogers. Finance bros, when they find Bitcoin, you are, without a doubt, the most toxic, hateful people I've ever heard of. Bitcoiners. But you have heard of us. Oh, man. Awesome memes. Awesome memes by the plebs. Shout out to everyone in our Telegram group. Join it right now so you can link us Bitcoin memes to review. It literally is free. All it requires is a click down below. It's just a little simple click. And you can join the Telegram group and you can link us Bitcoin memes to review. Anyways, for that, I'm going to give it, and if you know Nico loves wearing tank tops when he's not wearing represent hoodies. He's wearing represent tank tops. I'm going to give it this space Ibiza tank top that I got in Ibiza when I went to space. I mean, never mind. Anyways, Phil, what would you give those memes?
For some reason, I saw Space Pizza, and I was like, damn, I never heard of that pizza. But anyways, I love that score. I am going to give it, hopefully this is going to be my savior for my new laptop, the connector, the USB-C to USB-A adapter. Let's hope this is the savior.
A adapter, savior adapter. Anyways, Johnny Depp, what would you give those memes?
Very necessary adapter. I'm going to give it the Block Size War book.
Everyone needs to read that.
Yeah, very, very good book. Very good book. Anyways, guys, we want to know if you agree with our scores, you disagree. Let us know down in the comment section. Comment. Make sure to subscribe to us on alternative video platforms like rumble.com and our personal favorite, bitcointv.com. And if you're listening to the audio version of the show on Twitter Spaces, make sure to stay until after the show, where Johnny Depp from Simply Bitcoin and Jacob from Swan are going to do a live Q&A and hang out. Anyways, Phil, there was an open source soft release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. Brought to you by CypherSafe. Check them out, cyphersafe.io. Paper's dead. Store your seed in steel. Store your seed in the Cypher wheel or the all-new Cypher grid. They both come with a tamper-resistant wire, and the grid comes with a punch tool. All right, we've got GaloyMoney version 0.1.219 that was released. GaloyMoney is a Bitcoin banking solution with self-hosted infrastructure or banking as a service. You can also launch a Bitcoin community bank using the same shared custody model, easy-to-use Lightning wallet that helped Bitcoin Beach build a circular economy. And the link to that is down below in the show notes. Guys, we always say it, don't forget to check us out on our audio-only platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. If you want to stream us sats, check us out on fountain.fm. You could stream us sats through Breeze.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. All right, guys, I want to give a very special shout out to our awesome clothing sponsor, representltd.com. Optimus is wearing it. Phil's wearing the Bitcoin merch. Phil, show it off. Show off the Bitcoin merch, Phil. Oh, yeah. And I'm wearing the Represent. It's awesome. It's comfy. It's stylish. We wouldn't accept this sponsor if we didn't think it was comfy. Man, it's awesome clothes. Guys, check it out. There's a promo code down below to get 10% off. representltd.com. I promise you, it's comfortable as fuck. Anyways, I also want to give a very special shout out to simplybitcoin.news, www.simplybitcoin.news. Legendary Pirate Beach Bum, the most toxic pleb on the internet, is doing the articles, he's doing the writing, he's exposing the frauds in the space, and he's also doing bear market diaries. Very cool stuff. I also want to give a shout out to our own Johnny Depp. You can go give him a follow on Twitter at MyLivinTruth. And guys, that was our show. If you enjoyed the show, you don't do smash that like button. Of course, you want to continue hearing the Bitcoin news from the pleb perspective and the catastrophic fails from the same perspective. Definitely consider subscribing to Simply Bitcoin. We'll see you tomorrow, guys, for a brand new episode.
The only thing the bureaucracy knows how to do is introduce red tape, create unnecessary costs to maintain their moat. Bitcoin fixes this.